Project Ascension can be one of the most intimidating free-to-play games to get into. Between the unlimited amount of ability and talent combinations, coupled with the enchant system which allows you to play the game in ways never before seen in World of Warcraft, and the implementation of custom modes like Felforge, Nightmare, and Iron Man. You can even choose to risk your gear and steal the gear of others in the high-risk world PvP system. Today, in this short video, we'll be going over all of these topics and more to help you get started in Ascension. To get into the game, you'll first need to make an account and download the game on the Ascension.gg website. I'll leave a link to this in the description. I always get comments about Ascension asking, how is it legal if it's a private server for World of Warcraft? Well, I'm not a lawyer, but their website says it's legal, and that's good enough for me. While we're talking about the website, they do have a cash shop that helps support the game. Currency in this cash shop is referred to as DP or donation points. You can buy certain Vandy items and quality of life improvements with DP. For example, if you see this little book flying around, just know you'll come to depend on this stupid piece of shit. So get used to looking for one, but that's for a bit later. Once you log in, you'll be given the option to pick between a few different servers. What server you pick is very important depending on the type of content you're hoping to do. On the Ascension.gg website, you can select a timeline dropdown to get a general idea of what the content is going to look like and when it will be released. For example, the Area 52 server is currently in the Burning Crusade expansion, where the Alar server is still in Classic. Certain servers will also change how your abilities are obtained, with some being free pick, meaning you can select any ability you want, compared to Draft, where the abilities are given to you randomly at certain points throughout the leveling experience. This will drastically affect your gameplay and what builds you'll be able to use, as certain builds require more specific abilities than others to be successful. Once you've created a character and load into the world, you'll be greeted by pop-ups like you forgot to enable your ad blocker. This questline introduced by the Ascension team is meant to ease you into various systems. If you don't like them, you can ignore them or flat out disable them in the interface, though I'd recommend keeping them on your first time around, as some of them are very helpful. You'll notice that they also reward Marks of Ascension. This is a unique currency added to Project Ascension. You can get this currency by doing pretty much anything, and you can spend it on various items at Nozdormu. More on him later. One of the first quests tells you to press N to pick your primary stat.
The Rafflecopter, I don't know what build I'm going. I don't want to pick a primary stat yet.
Well, random voice in my head, have I got some news for you. You can change the stat as much as you want, so if you pick the wrong stat, you can open the character advancement menu at any time and change this primary stat right away. As a good rule of thumb, Stir or Strength is commonly recommended for most melee builds that don't plan to use any spells. Agi or Agility is recommended for most hybrid builds or builds that will be depending on damage from a ranged weapon such as a bow or a gun. Int or Intellect will be used for spellcasters wanting to do big DPS, and Spa or Spirit will be used for spellcasters wanting to do big healing. In this same menu, you probably noticed a massive interface. This interface allows you to look between each class and subclass in the game. From Feral Druid to Enhancement Shaman, we got it all, baby. Certain abilities and talents will be disabled depending on your level, so you can't pick up Mind Control level 10 and run rampant in a battleground. If you're playing on a free pick server, you'll be able to select any ability within your level range to learn and use. At the bottom of this page, you'll see a blue square in text named Ability Essence. This essence is what you spend to learn new abilities. When you mouse over an ability, it'll tell you how expensive it is to learn. Most abilities will cost you 2 Ability Essence. Once you hit level 10, you'll gain 1 Ability Essence and 1 Talent Essence after every level. Talents can be learned at level 10 by spending Talent Essence. This is the exact same concept. For each point of a talent you learn, you'll be spending 1 Talent Essence. Certain talents have something called a capstone bonus. This is an additional effect that you'll gain access to if you spend the maximum number of points in a talent. Finally, the talent tree will contain a few abilities that you have to spend both Ability Essence and Talent Essence to unlock. Like Bladestorm! You can search the entire interface for keywords using the search bar on the right. This can be very useful for searching for certain types of damage. If you find yourself out of ability or talent essence, but you regret the choices you've made, you can unlearn any ability or talent at the cost of a scroll of talent unlearning. You earn these scrolls through leveling, and they'll be sent to you in the mail by your best buddies over on the Ascension team. If you run out of scrolls, you can purchase additional scrolls by using your Marks of Ascension at Nozdormu, more on him later. If you really want to, you can spend gold to unlearn abilities or talents as well, but this is very expensive if you're a broke dwarf living in the big city. You may also see this odd fella giving you a bit of a glare in the starting zone. This NPC allows you to enable unique challenges for your leveling process. You can choose between Iron Man, Survivalist, Nightmare, and Resolute mode. These modes will grant you various rewards such as mounts and currency if you're able to complete them. Iron Man mode is what you'd expect it to be. 1 life, no friends, and no handouts. Some of you may already be familiar with this mode in real life. Survivalist is an easier version of this mode because it allows you to group with other survivalists, but you still only have 1 life. You can also trade with these survivalists, but that's about it. Nightmare mode allows you to die as much as you want, but you won't have much of a choice in the matter because you'll be taking increased damage. And I mean hella increased damage. And finally, Resolute mode allows you to relive the grind of classic leveling by setting the experience rate back to 1. Nothing feels better than spending 5 hours to get to level 14. The leveling experience is very similar to retail WoW. You have the option to level by yourself using quests, in groups of 5 using the Looking for a Group dungeon system, or by fighting players in battlegrounds. All 3 of these methods are fairly fast on their own, but can be sped up even further using an experience potion. These potions can be bought using donation points through the cash shop, or on the in-game auction house using gold. Another form of leveling will allow you to directly fight against players while traveling across the world of Azeroth. The high risk system gives you the option to risk your gear in gold in exchange for your opponent's gear in gold. It also gives you a nice chunk of experience if you successfully kill another player. This mode is not for everyone since it can be extremely frustrating to lose a couple pieces of gear each time you die to a player. But if you're elite 420 PvPer who never loses, you'll have a lot of fun with this. You can also enable Criminal Intent to attack players of your own faction. This is a spell that all players get in the General tab of your spellbook. As a word of warning, if you enable Criminal Intent, you will be hostile to all members of your own faction, including guards for a set amount of time. And if you're an overachiever, you'll eventually become an outlaw, ruining your reputation with your own faction and forcing you to make Booty Bay your new capital. Now that you've gotten a few levels, you probably wandered your way into a capital city. Here you'll see many things that will be very useful on your journey, such as night elves dancing on mailboxes, I mean Nozdormu. This tall glass of water will give you tutorial quests, allow you to spend your marks of Ascension, and he'll give you additional ways of rerolling your build if you choose to do so. Doing a certain one of his quests will provide you with 10 scrolls of talent unlearning, 2 ability purges, and 2 talent purges. These purges allow you to completely reset your current build without having to spend an obscene amount of scrolls. I'd recommend waiting until max level to use either, but if you need more, you can always purchase more with Marks of Ascension. Remember these floating books from earlier? This is where you'll need to make a choice. You can either throw your dignity away at the cost of sparing your wallet, or make a healthy investment into your future. These floating bastards are the only reasonable way to rank up new and existing spells. You could choose to hunt down a class trainer for each unique class you spec'd into, or you could right click on the book and learn it all at once. It's completely your choice. You'll also notice that this purple tiki totem thing is hanging around. That's not just for the aesthetic, my friend. That altar allows you to unlock vast amounts of hidden potential. These altars will soon dominate your mind as they are the only way to ensure you have the proper enchants on your Yeezys to make your fantasy build come to life. Boys and girls, this is where we go a little crazy. A little nutty even. Before we begin, I want to be clear that we are not talking about the enchanting profession. We're talking about the unique mystic enchants added to the game. These enchants can drastically change how you play your character. Some enchants reduce the cooldown of a spell by a few seconds, while others... Though they can seem intimidating at first, I promise that they can be tamed with a simple... Firstly, you'll randomly get mystic enchants on any piece of gear above a uncommon quality. This is a great way to earn some pretty cool enchants for free, so be sure to take a second look at that gear before you vendor it, especially if the mystic enchant is on a blue/rare quality item or better.
Oh, Rafflecopter, I don't care about any of these enchants. I just want the legendary enchant that the YouTuber talked about. How do I get that?
Well, voice in my head number 2, the easiest way would be to search for the enchant's name on the auction house. Assuming you have the gold to spend, you'll be able to find most enchants on the auction house, and you can even sell enchants that you find to make a quick buck. Additionally, if you have mystic runes, you can reroll mystic enchants on gear that is rare quality or better, and play slots until you find the enchant you're hoping for. This must be done at a Mystic altar. Simply right click on one to get started. You can gather Mystic runes pretty easily by doing certain quests, participating in a looking for a group dungeon system, or by playing through battlegrounds. When you spend enough of these Mystic runes on rerolling enchants, you'll level up your Mystic enchanting and earn a Mystic extract. This will allow you to permanently obtain a Mystic enchant of your choosing to add to your collection. You can only extract Mystic enchants from gear that is blue quality or higher. This also must be done at a Mystic altar. As a tip, make sure you're taking into account the rarity of the item the Mystic enchant is on when purchasing enchants from the auction house. Now that you have an enchant in your collection, you'll be able to apply it to any piece of gear that is blue quality or higher. All you have to do is select the item while you're in your Mystic altar interface and select the enchant you want to use. You'll have to spend another currency called Mystic Orbs to actually enchant the item. Mystic Orbs can be earned by completing certain quests, doing the looking for a group dungeon system, or by playing through battlegrounds. Finally, each Mystic enchant has a rarity associated with it. These rarities affect how many Mystic Orbs are required to enchant it to your gear. You'll also be limited to 1 legendary quality enchant and no more than 3 epic quality enchants. Certain green and blue enchants will have their own limits on how many of the same enchant you can benefit from. This can be viewed in your character panel by selecting the Mystic Enchant List option. This list shows you all of your active Mystic enchants. Now that you've suffered through the Mystic enchanting section, there is one more gameplay feature I want to talk about, but it won't be applicable until you hit max level. The difference between PvP power and PvE power. These stats may sound self-explanatory, but they are extremely important when you're trying to max out your DPS. This new stat is only seen on gear close to max level and increases your flat damage done in their respective environments. Gear with PvP power can be earned by competing in battlegrounds and performing certain quests while in high risk mode. Random mobs will also have a chance to drop gear containing PvP power while in high risk mode. This is normally referred to as blood-forged gear. You can also convert gear with PvE power to PvP power if you choose to do so. PvE power gear can be earned by questing, raiding, and by completing dungeons on any difficulty. Along with the flat damage increase, PvE power gear also reduces your damage taken by creatures and increases healing done while in instances by the same percentage amount. Finally, I want to point out a few tools and add-ons that will prove very useful on your journey. DPS add-ons like Recount and Skada will give you a good gauge of how your build is coming together. Weak Aura is a great add-on if you're playing a build that depends on procs, because this add-on will grant you the ability to set a flashing icon to appear on your screen when you get a proc, allowing you to maximize your DPS. If you like theory crafting, utilizing the builder on the Ascension.gg website allows you to take a look at abilities, talents, and Mystic enchants without having to be in game. Want to create a sneaky nature build while at work? Well, the power is in your hands. Don't like theory crafting? Well, don't. Use the Heroes Architect feature and copy someone else's build. Why let their hard work go to waste, right? It's as easy as choose this build and you're doing top damage in your dungeons group. Huzzah! Also, be sure to check out the other Ascension content creators. There's a ton of great people speaking on and creating specific builds all the time, so I'm sure you'll find something you'll like. That's going to be it for this video. This guide took a ton of work, so if you enjoyed it, I'd much appreciate a like or a subscribe. And if I missed anything you think is a core feature for new players to understand, definitely let me know in the comments. Have a great day.